So far we discussed about the Buddhism topic, and now we are coming into the Jainism topic. So first we'll talk about the concept of Jainism, and then we will talk about the solving of these questions. Okay, solving questions that is asked from the Jainism angle. And we can also see in 2023 prelims also one Jainism question asked about the belief system of the Jainism with respect to soul concept, and we'll understand that very well. And again, I already mentioned when we moving into 600 BC topic that Jaina principles goes back to we can say that is older than Buddhism time period. Okay, so origin of Jaina principles goes back to 900 BC or 9th century BC we can talk about. That is even before Mahavira. That is most of the time Jainism is ascribed to Mahavira. That Mahavira means great hero. Even before only these principles were there, and that is there were 23 Tirthankaras, also called as Jainas. I will come to what is the meaning of exact meaning of Tirthankara, what is the exact meaning of Jaina, and everything I will come to. So the 23 Tirthankaras were there, and Mahavira was the 24th Tirthankara. These principles were already in existence. So who is called as Jaina? Jaina is nothing but is a follower of Jaina, who is also called as Tirthankara. And Tirthankara is nothing but Arjuna is also called as, that is a person who has conquered or acquired infinite knowledge, supreme knowledge, at the same time who's conquered himself, or we can say conquered all the sensualities or temptations at the same time, and has attained supreme preacher status. So to attain nirvana, to attain kaivalya in this particular sense, that is you require the help of this Tirthankaras or Jaina in Jainism. They help others to attain moksha. Like in Vedic times, that that is you require the help of the priest to attain moksha. In Buddhism it talks about the individual way, but here in Jainism it talks about that is you require the help of one particular Tirthankara or Jaina over here. Okay, so ultimately here also the nirvana means ultimately the free from the cycle of rebirth. Same thing in Buddhism also, extinction of the flame of desire, and once you extinguish that one, that is what you are going to get. That is what you are going to get is that is you are going to be liberated from the cycles of rebirth. Okay, that is samsara, they would say called as. Okay, Tirthankara also meaning, actual meaning is it means the ford builder. That means helping people to cross the ocean of sufferings. Same, Buddha also said the same thing. World is full of sufferings, then you require and also you can end those sufferings through Ashtanga Marga. Now is fort builder, it is called as help people cross the ocean of suffering. That is the basic meaning of Tirthankara here. And before getting into understanding of Jainism principles, so we need to understand the concept of time in Jainism. So what is this concept of Jainism? The concept of time in Jainism is that one, there is a endless sequence of cycles, that is called as Utsarpini and Avsarpinis. So these are the two concept of our sequence of cycles of time is there. Utsarpini means that is the happiness life cycle, that is the off cycle of happiness, and Avsarpini means regressive happiness, that is the pain we can talk about, that is at the same time off cycle, that is also off cycle, and that is also off cycle. It keeps on changing like this, Utsarpini as well as Avsarpini. Okay, and it's spanning, that is Utsarpini can span for thousands of years or hundreds of years, and Avsarpinis also can span for hundreds of years also. In every cycle, in Utsarpini cycle, there will be Tirthankaras, and in Avsarpini cycle, there will be Tirthankaras. So presently, according to Jainism, we are in Avsarpinis. Okay, so that is supposed to be 24 Tirthankaras in each off cycle of time. So they gave their teachings. Okay, require the help of those Tirthankaras to attain kaivalya, to attain nirvana over here. That is presently, according to Jainism, that is we are in present off cycle is Avsarpini. That is regressive happiness of off cycle. Okay, so early Tirthankaras we can talk about. Over the early Tirthankaras, 23 Tirthankaras are there, but we majorly talk about the 24th Tirthankara. The first Tirthankara was Rishabhanath, also called as Adinath, Adinath, because the first Tirthankara, Adi means first, and is represented with certain symbols, that is bull symbol, also called as Ikshvaku. According to some people, he is a mythical person. According to some people, he was a historical person, and according to certain beliefs, he was the founder of Ikshvaku dynasty, also called as Surya Vamsha or Solar dynasty. According to belief system, he is from Ayodhya. And he also left a royal family like Buddha, we can talk about, but he is earlier than Buddha. And he wandered around many days without accepting any food. And the first day he accepted food, and that is called as Akshaya Tritiya. It is celebrated as Akshaya Tritiya in Jainism. Again, there is one more Akshaya Tritiya in Hinduism, that is a different concept. But here in this Jainism concept, the Akshaya Tritiya means the first day that Rishabhanath or Adinath accepted his food. Okay? And again, some other Tirthankaras are there. We don't need to get into all of them. Second is Ajinanatha. Then again, symbol is bull. Then again, 19th is Mallinatha, also called as Malli, because Malli, that is a female representation in Shvetambara, and Mallinatha, okay, that is a male representation in Digambara tradition. Digambara's belief, he was a man, and the symbol is Kalasha, but Shvetambara's belief, he was a woman, that is as idol as Malli, or we can say that is the named as Malli. And the 22nd, Neminatha, is from Saurashtra, and his symbol is Shankha. And 23rd, the Parshvanatha, is from Banaras region, that is snake symbol. And 24th, that is what we are going to discuss, Vardhamana Mahavira, and the lion symbol. Okay, so there is lion symbol. So these are the major Tirthankaras, and we talk about majorly the 24th Tirthankara, that is Jainism. Okay, so Vardhamana Mahavira, basic details like we saw in Buddhism also. The same thing, date around 540 BC, the contemporaries of Buddha. That is Mahavira was also contemporary of Buddha. According to the same time period, 567 BC is Buddha. And the place that we can talk about, Vaishali in Bihar, Kundagrama, is the capital of Videha. Then parents were Siddhartha as well as Trishala. And his clan, the Natrika clan, also called as Nyaya clan. So basic details, wife was Yashoda, and he had a daughter, daughter called as Priyadarshana, also called as Anuja. So different names are used in different fables. At the same time, then again, achieved Kevala Jnana under a tree, that is Buddha achieved under a Bodhi tree, achieved under a salt tree. In the fields of one person, that is Samaga. Okay, so in that particular field, and the river, which was the river for Buddhism, that is Falgu river, but here it is Jupalika river. In Buddhism, the Falgu river also called as Niranjana river. It is in Grama, again in Bihar. And again, title, that is Nirgrantha, the one who without any bonds, the person who does not have any kind of bonds, does not have any kind of karma, who achieved that nirvana, kaivalya, that is free from cycle of rebirths. Free from cycle of rebirth by extinguishing desire. And that is Pava or Pavapuri, it is also mentioned as, that is in Bihar. And again, his death is called as Siddha. And in Buddhism, death is called as Parinirvana or Mahaparinirvana also. But here it is called as Siddha. It means he reached a loka, it reached a universe, that is Siddha universe or Siddha loka it is called as. It means he is fully liberated. Mahavira is completely liberated. According to Jainism principle, the person who completely liberated is reaches Siddha Loka. We will understand through one diagram, we will come to that one. And one more concept in Jainism is Ganadharas. It means the chief disciples. Ganadharas means chief disciples. Chief disciples of, that we can say, who teach, or we can say who spread Mahavira's teachings. And there is a one term. And what is in Buddhism? We talked about Upasika and lay followers. Upasaka and Upasika. Then again, Upasampada, one more concept, who joined the Sangha. Here, one concept is called Ganadharas, who are the chief disciples of Mahavira's teachings. And the first Ganadhara was Indrabhuti Gautama and his two brothers, who are also Brahmins. And we talked about the disciples of Buddha also, Pancha Vargiya disciples we have seen, other 5 disciples we have seen. And they are the first members of the Sangha. Which Sangha? Jainist Sangha. There is a Buddhist Sangha also. In the same way, there was a Jainist Sangha was also there. Okay, so they are called as what? One term, that is called as Ganadharas. Particularly in ancient India, I think UPSC is quite fond of certain terms. So we will focus on these kind of terms. And Jaina doctrine is expressed in many principles. Like I already mentioned, is older than Buddhism. The many principles of Jainism is there, and these principles can be called as Anekantavada, Nayavada, Syadvada. Okay, then again Pancha Mahavrata, Triratna. Okay, at the same time Ahimsa. Of course, Ahimsa is part of this Pancha Mahavrata, but it is given a separate status in Jainism because of its extreme non-violence. Buddhism talks about non-violence, but Jainism talks about extreme non-violence. It means they did not want to hurt even a smaller microbe also, and that is the reason Ahimsa has a separate or special place in Jainism. So Triratna concept, same Triratna concept is also there in Buddhism also, Buddha, Sangha and Dhamma. A different Triratna concept is also Jainism. We understand one by one because all these are slightly interrelated, Anekantavada, Syadvada and Nayavada, and then we'll come to Triratna. So before getting into that one, we have to understand the concept of reality. We understand the concept of time in Jainism. That is Utsarpini and Avasarpini. This is half cycle of regressive happiness, half cycle of complete happiness. Okay, so now the reality concept. So according to certain schools, other schools like Buddhism also or Hinduism also, same many other philosophical schools you take. So according to these schools, the concept of reality is either eternal or non-eternal or changing or unchanging. So they have given absolute knowledge about the reality. So it is eternal, it's always there, it is non-eternal, somebody would say. Somebody say it is changing, like Anika we talk about, transient. And some schools say it is unchanging. But in Jainism, what is that one? That is reality is manifold, Anekanta. So that is Anekantavada, Syadvada, Nayavada. It's about the exposition of the concept of reality, exposition of the concept of, other tolerance aspect of Jainism also. And that is the reason Jainism is a special place when it comes to tolerance, because they believe that one, there is no absolute knowledge is possible. The knowledge is relative. So whatever the other school is saying, that can also be true. Okay, so that is the reason that directly related to concept of reality. According to Jainism, reality is manifold. That is Anekanta. Okay, so you cannot have, you can directly say whether it is eternal, non-eternal, changing or unchanging, like the other schools represent this concept. So what is Nayavada? Again, part of Anekantavada. It's a slightly interrelated. It means theory of standpoint or viewpoint. Okay, standpoint or viewpoint. That is all viewpoints are partially true. Buddhism can also be true. Jainism can also be true. Jaina ideas can also be true. Mahavira's teachings can be true. Then again, at the same time, Buddha's teachings can be true. Okay, all sects ideas could be same thing. All sects ideas could be true also. And he's also giving warning to philosophers that their sect alone is not true. I think today we must be seeing there is so much of conflicts going on between different religions. That is, my religion is great, your religion is degraded. The inferior superiority conflict comes. But we can take some kind of lessons from Jainism is that one. They say that when all sects could be true. All sects have their ideas which each other can borrow from, and also give warning to philosophers of other school that your sect alone is not true, because your sect might be true. So other sect also have good idea. That is theory of standpoint or viewpoint, and this led to Anekantavada. That is manifoldness. So first he said that one theory of standpoint, viewpoint, all views are partially true, and now the Anekantavada expanded, that's saying that one manifoldness. The many viewpoints are there, and many realities can also be there. That is called as Anekanta, the theory of reality. And that is non-one-sidedness. There is no one-sidedness is possible, and there is many-foldedness of reality. Reality could be manifold. You cannot say it is eternal, non-eternal, changing or unchanging like other sects talk about. But Anekantavada says that one, it is manifoldedness, also called as pluralism too. So many things, many-sidedness also it is sometimes called as. Because there are many plus realities plus doctrine. That's Vada means that is kind of a doctrinal theory. There's many plus realities plus doctrine. So people have different views on same subject, whether truth and reality is complex. On the same subject, the people can have different views, and that is the reason that is truth and reality, whatever that is it, that could be very complex. So, and one example, that is how Anekantavada can be expanded. It's a famous example that is over there. There is 5 men are blindfolded who never seen an elephant. It was brought to a village. Then they were asked to touch different parts of elephant. Okay, so they have 5 approach and touch, and they give different opinions about that one. There is one person touches a trunk, he say it is a tree. Other person touches a tail, he disagrees, it say it is a rope. And third person touches the leg, he say it's pillar. And fourth person touches the wall, it say on the side of the elephant, he say it is wall. Other person touches the ear and say it is a fan. So it means they say that 6th person comes and say that is you're all true. Okay, so 6th person comes and say that is you're all true on itself only in your own viewpoint. That is manifoldedness. They are not wrong per se, but they can be true. There is manifoldedness. That is non-one-sidedness. A complete understanding of any truth requires the consideration of variety of viewpoints. So you cannot understand any one sect or one reality or one concept through one kind of viewpoints. There is many viewpoints are there to understand a concept. To understand any kind of truth, that you require variety of viewpoints. You need to consider this variety of viewpoints, and that is called as Anekantavada. That is directly from Nayavada. And now we are coming into Syadvada, and that is maybe or could be. That's human knowledge is relative. You cannot say absolute yes or no to anything, because every knowledge is conditional or relative as well as limited. Okay, human knowledge is related, conditional as well as limited too. Okay, so no absolute knowledge, and no judgment is final. You cannot say something is right, something is wrong. You cannot say something is exist, non-exist. And that is Syada means relative, and Vada means knowledge. That is Vada means everywhere it is knowledge. Okay, Anekanta, many. Syadvada, Syada means relative knowledge, relative Vadas. Okay, probabilities and improbabilities are non-possibilities. Possibilities and non-possibilities exist on an issue, and different probabilities can be true. So all these are slightly interlinked. Like example, whether Atma and soul are permanent or temporary, you cannot say absolutely yes or no. Okay, no absolute yes or no is possible. Okay, so at the same time, because human knowledge with respect to soul is relative and is conditional as well as limited. Nobody has seen the soul. It's a limited knowledge. That is the reason it can be existed, maybe existed, it could be existed, could not be existed, and reality cannot be grasped. That's what it says. Reality cannot be grasped. So these are the 3 principles of Jainism that we can say: Nayavada, Syadvada, as well as Anekantavada. Okay, so and finally we can conclude that also we can know only few qualities of a thing. If you take any kind of things, if you take any kind of a person, or one person also you can only know about the few qualities of that particular person. You cannot know completely about that particular person. You take one object, you can have only few knowledge about that particular object. Now 3 jewels, Triratna of Buddhism, Buddha, Sangha, Dhamma, the 3 jewels here. That is, we can talk about Jaina ethics. This is the 3 jewels are. And to achieve Kaivalya, to achieve liberation, a Jaina must follow all these 3. For a Buddhist, they have to follow the original Buddhist teaching when we talk about the Ashtanga Marga. But here he has to talk about, he has to follow these three jewels. That is right action, right faith, and again right action or right knowledge. That is Samyak Jnana, Samyak Darshan, and Samyak Charitra. And what is the difference between the Buddhist way of attaining liberation and Jainist way of attaining liberation is that one. That Jaina can attain liberation only when he follows all 3. But in Buddhism, that is, you can follow Ashtanga Marga. You don't have to follow all of them, but you have to follow that is majorly of few of the Asnaika Marga also you can follow too. It means one cannot coexist exclusive of the other. So you cannot attain Kaivalya only with right knowledge. But along with right knowledge and faith and action ultimately lead to Kaivalya in Jainism. So all three are required to achieve Kaivalya over. Okay, so that is a basic difference. And again, what is right faith? Faith in the teachings of Tirthankaras, that is a Jaina. Okay, Jaina. At the same time, if you do not believe in their teachings, you cannot acquire right knowledge. So interrelated. So right faith, first and foremost, belief in Jaina. At the same time, belief in, and you believe in Jaina, you take knowledge from them. When you take right knowledge from Jainas, and that is lead to right conduct. Okay, so what is the knowledge you acquire from Jainas? That's about the universe, about the reality. The concept of time, concept of reality is very much important, and the concept of reality is manifoldedness. The concept of reality is theory of standpoint also, maybe or could be, so different viewpoints are there. And there is a matters of components like matter, that is Pudgal, then again space, Akash, then again time, called as Samai, then again motion, that is Dharmastika. You acquire knowledge of this from whom? From Jaina. You acquire knowledge of this from Jaina. Okay. Then it will lead to right action or conduct, and that is following Jaina ethical rules, which are 5 O's, the Pancha Mahavrata. So you should follow this 5 conduct after gaining the knowledge. And from whom you should have to gain knowledge? From Jaina or from Tirthankaras. And which are these 5 principles? That is, we can say Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Aparigraha, Brahmacharya, all these are well known. Okay, so Ahimsa means non-violence, Satya means speaking truth, Asteya means non-stealing, and Aparigraha means non-possession, and Brahmacharya means practicing celibacy. And particularly this 5th one, that is added by the 24th Tirthankara, that is Mahavira. And also there is one more concept called as Anuvrata. And when a person follows these Pancha Mahavratas partially, only one thing you are following, only 2 things you are following, okay, and that concept is called as Anuvrata. Particularly, the Jaina monks were expected to follow all these 5, who are called as Mahavratas can be. But when the common people observe only one of these principles or few of these principles, and that concept is called as Anuvratas. These 2 terms again, Ganadharas 1 term, Mahavrata 1 term, Anuvrata 1 term, which are the following is Mahavrata, that is Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Aparigraha as well as Brahmacharya. Okay, and then we'll come to Karma concept in Jainism. So this is one of the important concept. That is when we understand this Karma concept in Jainism, that help you to understand the entire Jainism philosophy over there. So we can understand through one infographic. We can go a little slow over here. Okay, so now according to Jainism, the karma particles are floating in space. They are floating in space, and these karma particles have a character. Either they have a positive character or they have a negative character. Okay, and these karma particles, they are drawn towards Jiva, that is Atmas. Okay, that is they are attracted. Karma particles are attract or they're flowing towards Jiva. Okay, or we can say soul. And why this karma, either positive particles can flow or negative particles can flow. Okay, and why Jiva is attracting these karma particles is because this is guided by different principles or different ideas, we can say desire, passion as well as hatredness. Okay, desire, passion as well as hatredness. And because these karma particles, the Jiva or soul, it is bonded. It is bonded by these karma particles. And that is the reason this Jiva keeps on transmigrating. Keeps on transmigrating. Okay, so keeps on taking rebirths. Keeps on taking rebirths. But what you can do is that when you can liberate this soul, you can liberate this particular soul. And how do you liberate? By going through 14 different stages. That is called as Gunasthanas. You can go through 14 different stages. That is called Gunasthana. We don't want to get into 14 stages. We don't want to do PhD over here. We just have to understand the karma concept. How karma is, we can say, bonded or binded into the soul. And that is there in space. They flow towards because of the Jiva. It is guided by these principles of desire, passion and hatredness. And that is the reason it keeps on transmigrating, keep on taking rebirths. And the 14 stages of Gunasthanas are there. And to liberate this particular Jiva or soul. And when you liberate this soul, it reaches a loka, and that is called a Siddha loka. Like I told you, death is called a Siddha in Jainism. It means liberation from births, and that is a Siddha loka, world of liberated souls. And how do you liberate this in these 14 stages? Right conduct, right faith, right knowledge, that is not KFC, just for representation purpose, that is right knowledge, right faith and right conduct, the Triratnas. Okay, through Triratna you can liberate this particular soul and it reaches Siddhaloka, the world of liberated souls. It can also be represented through one Jaina diagram also, we will see it in the last, but this is karma concept in Jainism. So how the karma comes into Jainism, how it is attracted, okay, what happens after it getting after. Now the soul is binded, you have to liberate that soul. How do you liberate? Through this KFC, and that will lead to Siddhaloka, a world of liberated soul. Okay, now again, just to summarize that one, karma concept in Jainism, karma particles floating in space, the positive and negative are two nature, and at the same time they flow towards Jiva or soul, that is called as karma particles attract towards Jiva or soul, we can say, and which does not have any shape or form, these particular particles, but it takes the form of body it habits. Karma particles, because they don't have any particular shape, whenever it reaches that particular soul, it takes the form of it, the shape of that particular soul, we can say. And it, because that is acquiring this karma because of desire, hatredness and passion, now Jiva start to transmigrate, and the karma particles are flowing towards Jiva due to desire, passion, hatred, we already talked about, and that is called as Ashrava. They flow because of one quality, that quality is Ashrava, and that is flowing called as Ashrava, and karma gets bonded to Jiva, that is called as Bandha, and we can say bonded. Because now how do you liberate this? By following Triratna, 14 stages you have to go through that one. Okay, the Triratna, like right knowledge, right faith and right conduct, ultimately it reach Siddhaloka. Other than general teachings, that is the philosophical teachings of Jainism, the soul is in bondage again because of the previous births, accumulated karma, either positive or negative. Then again liberate that soul to right conduct, that is KFC. Okay, so that is right knowledge, faith and conduct. Then again with a life of purity, virtue and renunciation, that is becoming monk, becoming saint, severe asceticism. The Buddhism talks about the middle path, but Jainism is an extreme path. And again following penance, that self-mortification, or we can say giving punishment to oneself when you commit certain kind of wrongs. Again, it also believes that every animate and inanimate beings have a soul. Believes that whether the living beings or non-living beings, they have soul. That is a question that asked in 2023 prelims. We are building into the kind of question that is asked. And rejected the authority of Vedas, pretty much like Buddhism. Against the Brahmanical supremacy, again these are all heterodox texts. Buddhism, Jainism, Ajivikas, they went against the established Brahmanical supremacy, and they say that the householder cannot attain Kaivalya because he should become a monk. But what Buddha said, there is a middle path. He cannot, any householder can also attain middle Kaivalya, or we can say Nirvana in Buddhism concept. And talks about extreme non-violence. Even they do not agree for agriculture also, because agricultural operation involves killing of insects, and which is called as, that insects are called as Nigoda. Okay, so that is the reason most of the Jainists today engaging in trade, because of their religious principles. That is, the trade does not involve according to themselves, that is according to the belief. It does not involve really, we can say that is hampering of, or we can say harming of any microbes, or we can say any living beings, even for non-living beings also. So universe is created by natural law, according to Mahavira. That is natural law which is guiding. It's not created by God. Okay. The God concept in Buddhism is that it is neither accept nor rejects. But in Jainism, the gods exist, but they are lower than the Jaina or Tirthankara. Tirthankaras are greater, but gods are lower than. Gods have lower status than. But how the universe is created, it is guided by its own law. It's a universal law, not created by God. And the highest form of death, according to Jainism, is that is starving to death, that is fasting and meditating, that is called as Sallekana. Okay. And one king who performed Sallekana, Chandragupta Maurya. Other Jaina doctrine is that gods are lower than Jaina, like I already mentioned. They rejected Vedic rituals, but did not condemn the hierarchy of one. They were against the rituals, but they accepted the hierarchy, because they say that that hierarchy is because of the good and bad acts of previous life. That's because of good karma and bad karma of previous life, you got this particular Varna system. And that is the reason, that is, they rejected the Vedas authority with the rituals and sacrifices, but they accepted the grading of the society because of the bad and positive karma. Okay. And look at this question. So the following statements are applicable to Jaina doctrine, 2013. We understood the entire Jainism in a very simple way. The surest way of annihilating karma is to practice penancing. Yes, penancing is there, self-mortification. Every object, even the smallest particle, is a soul. Yes, that is there. Karma is the bane of the soul. It must be ended because the jiva is binded. It's a bandha of jiva is there. So that must be ended. So all three are correct, right? Okay. Select the correct answer. 1 only, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, and 1, 2, 3. Solution is D. And look at that one, this particular statement. Even the smallest particle as a soul. So that is the Jaina principle. Okay. Now look at 2023 question. Okay. Souls are not only the property of animal, plant life, but also rocks, running water, other natural objects not looked as living by the religious sect. It's a 2023 question. The above statement reflect the core belief of which of the following religious sect of ancient India? Buddhism, Jainism, Shaivism, Vaishnavism. Okay. So that is, it's about Jainism we know. Understood the concept of Jainism. Now 2 questions we answered. Okay. So first we understood the concept, then we answered. But as we go, that is first we solve the question, then we understand the concept. But for this one, I felt like the more understanding of Jainism concept is there. Slightly more conceptual orientation compared to Buddhism in Jainism itself. So that is the reason first I explained the concept, then we understood the sects too, or we can say the philosophies. Then again, 2011, Jain philosophy holds that the world is created and maintained by how the universe is created, by universal law. That is a universal truth or law of faith, universal soul, and we know the answer is universal law. So look at that one. So how the Jainism principles have been repeated over a period of time.